What's up, everybody? How's it going? I am back. I hope you guys like that new little intro, a product of my procrastination during my studies this past month. But hey, I like it a lot, and I hope you guys like it too. Thanks for showing up, everybody. All 23 of you here on this little impromptu stream. I am just going to give a little channel update, talk a little bit about things that I've been seeing, and yeah, there we go. And answer some questions if you guys have it. All right. Let's say hi to everybody in the chat. Hex Love, what's up, buddy? Welcome to the chat. Good to see you. Red Squirrel, Hex Mole, East, what's up? Good to see you. Yes, please smash the like, guys. I am back. Hex Clips, what's up, buddy? How you doing? Jawa, good to see you. JB, Alex Santos, what is up? I don't see anybody else here. Hey, and Hex Glenn, let's say what's up, buddy? I hope you're doing well. All right, yeah. So we got Simon. What's up, buddy? How you doing? All right, so today I'm just going to give you guys a little channel update. I was taking my national board exam, licensing exam for dental school. I took that this past Friday and Saturday, and I'm done. I don't know if I passed yet. I'll find out in 3 to 4 weeks, but I like my odds so far. So that's kind of where I've been. I just kind of hold up, been studying, really put the content and the crypto a little bit in the back burner. But I've definitely been watching, and lots been happening. PulseChain literally launched at like the worst possible time for me, right in the middle of studying. So I was like trying to study, and then all this shit's happening, and I'm just trying to keep my head on straight, focus on what I got to do. But now I finally can, get talking about the things I want to talk about, producing some content for you guys. I'm excited about it. Let's see. GIF, what's up, buddy? Good to see you. I hope you're doing well, man. And thanks, Mudhog. I appreciate it. All right. So now that I'm back, why don't you guys throw some questions in the chat if you guys have anything you guys want to talk about. I guess the first thing to talk about, PulseChain's launched, right? That's pretty exciting. We've had a lot of crazy stuff happen in terms of the bridge being clogged. Now the unclogging has happened. A lot of the pools have been created and really high APRs, which is really exciting. Let's see. Yeah, I'll be starting questions as I'm talking to you, by the way. The APRs have been really exciting, and it's been pretty cool to finally be able to see all of the stuff come out that we've been talking about for the past 2 years, right? That's pretty crazy. We had some hiccups. There were some, we had the EHEX pHEX pool for a little bit. I'll pull up those farms. So the EHEX pHEX pool, but that was taken down. And then we had a little snafu with like the wrap BTC from Ethereum, and then like the copied wrap BTC. And then now there's a whole conversation happening about EHEX versus pHEX. Everybody's losing their minds. But me personally, I think it's a really interesting conversation, independent on what actually happens, whether EHEX dies and maybe I'll go to pHEX, if the two find some kind of equilibrium. I think that whole conversation is really interesting to have because it's the first time we at least with our community, we got a split. We have two of the same products on two different chains, and it's like there are pros and cons to both on why you would or would not own them. And so kind of one thing that I want to do and that I'm working on a little bit in the background is I want to come out with just like a full slide deck and a stream going through all the arguments. I have my own position. I'm definitely more pro EHEX, or I'm not on the side of EHEX is going to die or we should abandon it. I think there's a lot of value to having Ethereum hex do very well, and even if it doesn't do as well as pHEX, I think it still has value. And the fundamental question for me is, does it have value? Does the coin still have value? And the price that I'm getting it at, is that a good price for the value that I'm getting? That's pretty much the crux of the issue for me. And when I frame it in when I frame it in that manner, a lot of the arguments that I've been seeing against eHEX and to fully migrate to pHEX kind of are irrelevant, at least in my opinion. Not to say they're not good arguments or like that they don't have a legitimate point. But for me personally, as long as I can still get disproportionate value per dollar that I put in on the Ethereum side, it still makes sense to put my dollars that way. And when I frame it that way, if it makes sense for me, it probably makes sense for other people, which means like, there's going to be some kind of buy pressure on that chain. But there's definitely a lot of unanswered questions, and it is an unknown. Like we really don't know what's going to happen. So it's going to be fun to watch, and I'm hoping to outline it and track that whole process as it goes on. Let's see. Let's take a look at some of these pools that have been up. Yeah, so we got a bunch of different incentivized pools now on the PulseChain site, and they're all printing a pretty substantial amount of ETH. So obviously PulseX, Rat Pulse, we got Stables to Pulse, we got pHEX to Pulse, Incentive to Pulse and PulseX, and then now we got a Wrap BTC from Ethereum to Pulse. So we got a lot of liquidity bonding going on that's incentivized through these farms, and that's something that I've been thinking about a lot lately in terms of like what this liquidity bond means for the system from a mechanistic standpoint and from like a community standpoint. So those are some things that I'm going to be talking about more in future streams as well. How the liquidity bonding works, how Uniswap V2 liquidity model, how that model affects how coins are routed through, how to use that to set liquidity for yourself, different strategies on like where you want to put your LP. Should you be chasing the yield? Should you be trying to mitigate impermanent loss? How does that look relative to like your entire portfolio? These are some of the questions that I've been going through my head and that I want to explore more publicly with you guys. So keep an eye out for that. Be some streams, both public streams and some private things that I do with Access Alive surrounding this content. Let's see what else. Charts. Yeah, we'll go to charts for a second. Stop sharing and share screen, entire screen. There we go. So yeah, we had a little bit of a bounce today, but like most of the Ethereum stuff has just been death so far. It's pretty crazy. But like these are some deals I didn't think we would be able to see on either side. Even like a hex on PulseChain, pHEX is under 2 cents right now. But what was I going to say? The one thing that I've been seeing that I like a lot is focusing on the aggregate value of the two coins. And so Crispy Man, the creator of hexfire.io, he's been making a chart that looks at both the individual prices of these coins at the fork and the sum of the two values. And if you're looking at LPing between eHEX and pHEX, in a lot of ways, that sum is more important than the individual prices, because by providing your LP on for both of those coins, you're kind of implicitly saying you don't really care which one you have more of. You value them both, and so the aggregate value of both of them is more important than any individual one. So I think that's definitely a number to watch over time, the sum value of eHEX versus pHEX, and that goes for Hedron and Icosa too. What's the sum value of them? And since most of us here were in before the fork, we pretty much have 1-for-1 bags on the of Hedron, Hex, and Icosa. So like, let's see, Hex 1.8 cents, 1.4 cents, so that's 3.2 cents aggregated. Hedron 4,000, 7,000, so that's like 1,100 or 11,000. And we got Icosa 10 cents, 18 cents, so it's like a 28 cent aggregate Icosa, excuse me. Sorry. So when I'm looking at those aggregate values, we're actually not doing that bad. I mean, obviously prices are low, but like I think we're seeing some of the generational buying opportunities right now So I'm personally trying to find whatever spare cash I can have to throw in. These are some of the prices that I'm looking for. And specifically on the Ethereum side, let me see, is this the right one? Where's the bookmark? There it is. One thing actually in favor of Ethereum Hex still surviving to a decent degree is a big block of liquidity that was placed in the USDC pool. I think it was the 0.3%. Let's see if it's still there. Nope. Let's see if it's in the 1%. At least it was there before. They might have taken it out. And if that's so, that's too bad. Let's see. Nope. Okay. So we have a huge chunk of liquidity on the Hex USDC 1% pool. And this range is going from, let's see, 0.0009 all the way to 0.0005 hex. And see, and the price is like way over here, down in this area right here. So like, it really starts at about a tenth of a penny, and then it supports all the way down to, basically a little less than 1/100th of a penny. So like, we got people looking to accumulate hex at just Ethereum hex at an incredibly cheap price. And so, if you took the liquidity course that Access and I did, or if you listened to some of the stuff I've done before publicly, that large liquidity blocks means that there's less slippage in those ranges, which is better order execution. So because of that, price generally is magnetized towards these large blocks of liquidity so that large bags can exit their position, and large bags that are looking to accumulate can get a bunch of it without experiencing much slippage. Each of these bars, according to this site, is about $7,000. $7,000 worth of USDC, and then the big one is $11,000 each. So it's like what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So it's about, I don't know, 50 blocks of them. So that's like $500 to $1 million of USDC sitting at this low range for people to trade with. And then here it's about, probably about 200 to 300,000, maybe more or less. But if you look at the places where we're at now, the USDC locked is like in this specific pool is basically nothing. So price is going to be magnetized towards these areas. So if you want to hold off a little bit of some of your bullets, some of your DCA to these lower values, there is a significant chance that there's definitely a significant chance that we see under a penny and even below like a tenth of a penny. So those could be some huge buying opportunities. And if I, what's the word I'm looking for? If I were to speculate that if we were to get the price all the way down to this range at the bottom right here, I would speculate that the person providing this LP would probably pull it and take all of that hex. Let's see if there's just want to see if we can see if there's a big player providing the liquidity here. Yeah, I can look at that later. But yeah, let's get. I've seen some questions, and we got a super chat from Crypto Frontier. So I'll start with you, buddy. Ooh. Oh, hey, no problem, man. I'm glad to be back giving you guys content. I appreciate that. Thank you for your time. Currently / future, what is better, Icosa or Hedron staking on E or P? So that's a good question, because something interesting happened when the PulseChain fork happened, and that somebody wrote a script to start all of the auctions that were backlogged on the Ethereum side. They started them, and because nobody else had access to a UI, they were able to get them all basically for the base price. So they essentially not stole, because it's fair. It's they had access to the functions and other people didn't, and so they got the advantage of having the knowledge and the information and the ability to take advantage of that. Like, it's fair game. But they removed a lot of HSIs from the PulseChain side. So the volume of HSIs in the auction house on the PulseChain side is going to be much less, which means less Hedron being burned, which means less Icosa yield. So from that perspective, the Ethereum side is still probably going to be better from an APY perspective, because there is still a decent amount of auctions up. Now, actually, let me pull up the auction house to see exactly what we got. Let's go to Icosa.pro. And then, yeah, actually, Gifford has a good point. A lot of really cheap HSIs were sold like 80 to 90% off this past weekend. I was too bad I didn't have my my stuff with me. I would have been able to scoop some up, but yeah, people got some really cheap hex even off the even off like the current dip that we're in. So let's see. Let's go to the HSI auction. So I'm on Ethereum right now, I think. Let's see. Nope, I'm on PulseChain. We'll start with Ethereum. Share my screen. Okay. So on Ethereum, we have 1,700 auctions that are currently not ready to be started, but like in queue to be started. So let's say I think if we go a lot of these are you can start now if you want, but they're let me see, yeah, they're in the B share range, so they're not really that desirable in a lot of ways. Let's see if we can get to some that are going to be started later. Oh, these are pretty deep. So, and I'm seeing a lot of 1 T-share ones, so that's pretty good. Let's go to the PulseChain side and see if it how it differs. Oh, come on, there we go. PulseChain, and then all right. So we got So this is what I was looking for. So on the PulseChain side, it's available in 1 days and 3 days, 4 days. So we have 1,800 HSIs in the auction house, but if you'll notice, none of them are able to be started today. So right now, that's funny, minus 12,000% discount on Icosa, but you're still getting a 53% discount on the hex. That's pretty cool. It's funny to see. So we only have 2 auctions going on right now on the PulseChain side, but if I go to the Ethereum side, 1 second. We go connect. Then we'll go to Ethereum. If we go to the Ethereum side, I'll pull it back up. We got, well, so these have already ended, but it looks like we have a couple that are about to end here. This one's at in an hour and 15 minutes, 50% off the Icosa price and 90% off the hex price. And that's 10,000 hex for probably 5,555, right? Yep. So we have some deals that are about to be going on in the next hour, but you'll see that there's so many more auctions live on the Ethereum side than PulseChain. So like, this just kind of goes to bolster my argument that the Ethereum side is going to have more yield than the Icosa side, than the PulseChain side. But if we look at the prices, the Ethereum side, the PulseChain side is outperforming the Ethereum side in terms of absolute price. So maybe the yield might be lower, but if those coins are worth more, maybe that lower yield still equals more dollar value. And then if we go to the PulseChain side, we'll see that, we don't have auctions are more slowly trickling in, but this is actually interesting to see that there are more auctions and backlog here on the PulseChain side than the Ethereum side. So I think like that could mean, just looking at it off the top of my head, that there are more people selling their HSIs for Icosa on PulseChain than Ethereum right now, which I guess would kind of make sense because of like the gas fees. But yeah, so there's that. I hope that answered your question, Crypto Frontier. Let's keep going. Stop the screen. All right, where are we at? Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, AK, I see your comments, man. If there's a question that you want me to answer, go ahead and put it in now. I've lost some of the ones at the top, but like, I'm happy to answer questions. Just, be chill, come vibe with us, man. No need to take things so seriously. Let's see here. Let's see. Hey, what's up, Contractor? Good to see you. All right. Yeah, go ahead and put more questions. Let me think if there's anything I want to say. We've only been on for 20 minutes, so I got plenty of time to chat with you guys. Let's see. Not a lot of Hedron burning on that auction though, like 16 billion out of a fair. Yeah, that's a good point I didn't bring up. So like, because a lot of the attention is away from Hedron and Icosa and these auctions, less Hedron is being burned, which is like why we're getting a huge discount on this stuff. So like, if less Hedron is being burned, then that's like the less Icosa yield. But the flip side to that is that's less Icosa inflation going forward. And actually, this brings up a good point. I wanted to show this tweet from Alex because it got me very excited. All right, so let's hide this. All right, Alex. People have no idea what I'm about to do, and to my knowledge, it's never been done before, at least not in the way I'm about to try to do it. It really doesn't even have much to do with me, but more with everyone as a whole. In a way, I suppose it makes me a messenger of sorts, and the people choose if they want to receive the message. Then are fixed paradigms truly fixed or malleable with enough willpower? So that is pretty exciting because this guy is going to use his whatever he's building. If he wants to funnel value into someplace, he's probably going to funnel it into Hedron and Icosa. And if I had to take a guess off my own speculation, I have no idea what Alex is working on. I don't have any inside information. I know just as much as you guys in terms of what that tweet has said. But if I had to take a guess, most value will probably be funneled into the Icosa chart, just because by getting the Icosa chart up higher, that value trickles down into Hedron and Icosa pretty well. So look out, put your Twitter notifications on for Alex, because this man is not done. He's been working on Hex Scout. He has the Rocket Pool fork he's going to do, the What's an HSI marketplace where you bid and or buy sell What's with Icosa. So we got a lot coming up, and with the prices this low, if you want to speculate on the future utility of the Alex spinoff of the Hex ecosystem, prices don't get any better than now. Not financial advice. Let's see. All right. Let's see. Oh yeah, good question, Rune. When What's a graphics? I don't know yet. All the artists have submitted everything. Alex has gotten all of the artwork in the format where he can distribute it to the NFTs. So I think it's just how high is it on his priority list? It seems like he's pretty busy making cool shit. So eventually, as Fast Abdul will say, we will get our monkey pictures. Don't worry. And Hex Dirt Saw, thoughts on incentive token? I like incentive token. I like it a lot. I think the game theory and the mechanics around it are really cool. The fixed supply of 1 per second, I think is really bullish from a scarcity perspective. And I think that a decent number of people are sleeping on it, thinking that it's a dump only token. And the main reason, and those arguments make sense. I get it. It's like you provide liquidity, you get this coin, quote unquote, for free. I personally don't think it's free. You're taking on risk to get this coin, right? So what's another example? So Hedron had the dump forever narrative attached to it, and Zen had the dump forever narrative attached to it. But I think the thing to consider is what you have to put up in order to get the token. So for Hedron, you had to have hex stakes and you had to have served time on those hex stakes. And so that's kind of the thing that's backing the value of Hedron in a way from a distribution standpoint. Zen, it's just the gas fee and some of your time, however long you want to have your mint go for. For the incentive token, even though it's an inflationary token, it is getting its value backed from the people taking on impermanent loss by providing liquidity, which is a service to the DEX. So it's you can think of what I said early on, and the way I like to think of it is if you're buying the incentive token, you're essentially purchasing other people's risk that they took on in order to obtain it. And because there's only a fixed supply of the emission rate is fixed 1 per second, which is 31 million per year. As time goes on, the inflation rate of it decreases as a proportion of the total inflation. So next year, from when PulseChain launched to a year from then, 100% of the inflation will be from all of that inflation will equal 100% of the supply. From year 1 to 2, 100% of the inflation will equal 50% of the supply, and that exponentially goes lower and lower as time goes on, just because less of it is getting printed relative to the same amount is getting printed, but it's less to the total supply. So it's kind of like an inverse of a halvening in a lot of ways, but it's constantly happening. I know that, Fox. I know there's a lot of questions on what it is. My understanding right now is it's 1 per second in perpetuity, but I do need to confirm that with official documentation of the code. Oh, we got some new people in the house. Rags to riches. What's up, buddy? Good to see you. I hope you're well. Guys, I know he says don't follow, follow, subscribe, but go like and follow, subscribe to him. It's a good channel. Schwa, what's up? Good to see you, buddy. Hey, Corey Geary, good to see you. We were just on a stream on Hex Fire's channel, so go check that out. 2 hours of jam-packed cool content. Oh, hey, Bree, what's up? Good to see you. I hope you're doing well. I've been happy to see Bullish Bree back on Twitter. So it's good to see you. Watch out for some of my streams on eHEX versus pHEX. I definitely take a different perspective. I'm more pro eHEX, and I know you've been on the side of merging to pHEX. So I think there's some good conversation to be had there, and I'm looking forward to hearing your opinion on the stuff I put out in the future. Let's see. Finn Bear, what's up, buddy? I hope you're doing well. Let's see. People sleeping on Hedron. Yep. They're like 2x. They're crazy undervalued. You can get $1 billion Hedron on Ethereum for like $400, and you can get $1 billion on PulseChain for like $700. Yeah. So and $1 billion of Icosa, $1 billion of Hedron. Let me look at the total, exactly what the total supply is right now, so I can get an accurate number. Hedron. So there's 125 trillion Hedron tokens. Presumably, I'll just assume it's the same on ETH and PulseChain. I'm looking at the Ethereum side right now. So that means 12.5 billion gets you a dolphin position, which means 1.25 billion gets you a squid position, which is 0.01% of the supply, or 0.001% of the supply. So for about $700 on Ethereum, you can get a solid dolphin position, and about $800-900 on $800-900 on PulseChain will get you about a solid squid position. So I think that's a pretty decent discount. Yep, I agree. It's especially the way the incentive token is paired up in liquidity with other stuff, especially relative to PulseX buy and burn. It's a sleeper, that's for sure. Let's see. How to buy Icosa? Uniswap or PulseX? Pretty straightforward. And if you want, you can just buy it straight on PulseX for the Ethereum copy if that's the one you want. Okay, thanks, Bree. I appreciate it. So 1 per second. I had that right. Where do I see Hedron and Icosa going? Higher, my friend Paul. I see it going higher. But the lower it goes, the more I can have for when it actually does that. There are only so many coins to sell. I know people think like whales and stuff have a decent position in it in terms of like their mintable supply, but let me run some numbers. Let's see, share it. So 50,000 T-shares, and we'll say like people who have a decent size bag have 50,000 T-shares times 1,000 because it's a function of B shares, not T-shares. So with 50,000 T-shares, you can print 50 million Hedron per day. But we're going to assume the worst case scenario. We're going to assume the worst case scenario and that all of these T-shares have a 10x bonus. So we multiply this by 11 because the 10x bonus is additional. So that's 500,000 Hedron per 500 million Hedron per day that they can mint. And if we multiply that by 30, with every 50,000 T-shares that has a 10x bonus with it is 16.5 billion Hedron mintable every single month. And so if we look at that, copy, and we go to Dex Screener, we'll go to, let's do the Ethereum side first. That is, oh, that's wrong. That's Hex. Sorry, guys. Hedron, there it is. That's $6,000 of sell pressure every single month, every 50,000 T-shares with a 10x bonus. So that's the max amount of minting pressure these people have at these low rates, at these low prices. And then let's look at the PulseChain side. It'll be a little bit more. So $12,000. $12,000 of sell pressure every month. Now, of course, as the price goes up, this changes. If we like 10x, then that's 60 grand and 100 grand of sell pressure from all of these people who have 50,000 T-shares, whether it be an individual or an aggregate. But yeah. I don't think that's too bad. The volume of the liquidity, it definitely is able to handle that amount of mintable sell pressure. The question is, how much are people selling it that have accumulated a bag and are selling a bottom or capitulating? I think that's really more what we're seeing now in terms of like the dump. But yeah, that's where I see it going. Let's see. Welcome. See Jawa. Zero premise on incentive makes it extremely valuable. Same with Icosa. I'm not sure what you mean there. Oh, zero pre-mine. Gotcha. Zero pre-mine on incentive. Yep. So it's just distributed out to the people who do a certain behavior that I guess Richard want people to do, and that's how the coin is distributed. Yeah, that's the Icosa contract. I think. Let's see. Bree, be mindful of love. I do not care all about the ETH assets. If you think P will outperform E, Hex, and for good reason, there's no reason to buy on Ethereum. Use PulseChain for the problem it solved. Yeah, so I definitely think when it comes to the pro pHEX argument, or at least abandoning, maybe not pro pHEX argument because everybody's pro pHEX, but if it comes to like abandoning eHex, like I think the arguments like they make sense, especially on the surface level, but they have like legitimate merit. What I was saying before is like, does Hex on Ethereum have value? And if it has value, how much value am I getting at the current price that it's at? And so that I like to center my perspective on it from a more selfish perspective in terms of like how much value am I getting per dollar value. And when I think about it that way, like obviously, if the price of eHex gets way lower than the price of pHEX, then like it makes more sense to buy eHex from that perspective. I don't actually think we're there right now. So if we go to the difference in the prices, they're actually pretty close to each other. 1.4 cents on ETH and 1.8 cents on PulseChain. In my mind, that's parity. I know it's like a decent amount. It's probably like 20% or something like that. Let's see. 0.14 divided by 0.18. So it's like, yeah, it's a 23%, 23% discount right now, which like in my opinion, that's basically parity, more or less, especially at these lower prices, for all intents and purposes, at least. So like the deal relative to each other is not that drastic where it's like you're still getting solid value by just focusing on the PulseChain side. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, probably. Why would Icosa be in parity? So I think those will only be in parity if Hex is in parity. So they each derive their value from their respective chains. So Icosa derives its value from Hex on PulseChain, and Icosa derives its value from Hex on Ethereum. So it's like if what's what I'm looking for? If those hexes are the same one-to-one, just say for instance, then like the derived value based on the contract formulas would mean that they should be equal to. So like you could then like you can then like use that as an indicator on which one to buy if you're looking to buy it. But that assumes a parity. I don't think we'll see like one-for-one parity like that strongly. I think we'll see oscillations. Well, one will outperform the other over time, and then then it'll underperform over time. But I think they'll probably stay within like a plus minus spread. What that spread is, I don't know. How deep it is, I don't know. It's going to be really fun to watch and see. Yeah, I don't know what he's talking about, but I'm excited to find out. Let's see. You need to act as if pHEX will be 100 to 1 with eHex in the future. This ratio of 30% divergence will only continue. Yeah, that's definitely a possibility. I'm personally not of the opinion that it'll get that drastic. Whereas like, I don't know, for round numbers, if Hex on PulseChain is $100 and Hex on Ethereum is $1, if the spread was that much, I think the value proposition of eHex is still great enough where people would want to move their capital on the Ethereum side, and that's mostly I derive that mostly from short-term staking, especially at these prices. Like now at these low prices, if we make the assumption that Hex will be higher, say $1 plus range in the future, which I think is pretty reasonable, in a pretty reasonable price target in the future. Like I don't think it's unreasonable to think that Hex on either chain will flip $1 as support one day. Accumulating large bags now allows you to have a decent amount of economic energy on both chains to do rolling 30-day stakes. And so it's like, which one you choose to buy, I think is like 100% like a personal choice. Um, and so it's like, if you value the pHEX side more and the spread isn't that drastic, then like it makes sense to do that. But if you want to get those extra coins on the Ethereum side, just in case the price goes up high on that side as well, now you have more coins on that price increase. That also makes sense to me. So I'm still working a lot of this stuff in my head, and I'm definitely looking forward to doing a stream in the future outlining my entire thought process. What's up, Larry? How you doing? Yes, Kaiser, what's up, buddy? Hit the likes, everybody. I hope you're doing well. And hey, thanks to all 128 of you that are in here. Let's see. How many hex to make a 30-day stake beneficial on the Pulse side? I don't know. On the Pulse side, as many as you want, because the gas fees are pretty negligible. But the gas fees are also not that bad on a 30-day stake on Ethereum either. If I remember correctly, I think 1 million hex gets you like 6K, 6,000 hex every single iteration. So it's like, if hex is $1 and you're printing 6,000, as long as it's less than $6,000 or well under $6,000, like it makes sense. And hey, no worries, Bree. It's this conversation, in my opinion, it's not adversarial or like tribalistic. In my opinion, I think it's a really interesting thing that's happening from a sociological perspective, from a financial and economic perspective, and we're all just trying to figure this stuff out together. So like some people would be right, some people would be wrong, but I think the collective conversation that's happening, in my opinion, is the most interesting thing. Yeah, well, I'll see what you had to say before, just to see. But why? Because you have 100x gains on the pHEX. There's zero argument by eHEX over pHEX long term. If everybody knows pHEX, yeah, I guess I just contest that it'll be 100x the gains on the pHEX. That's an assumption that I would contest. But yeah, let's see. We got some more. Willie B. Long, what's up? And yeah, you don't have to go away, Bree. You can stick around. It's cool. Hex Monkey, what's up, buddy? How you doing? I hope you're doing well. Warfield, have you analyzed the incentive contract and its owner in depth? I have not, but I do know some. So I haven't like double checked this information. So like, don't take it as like FUD or anything. But I do think there is a lot of centralized power in terms of like where the incentives go to in the pool, right? So like, what's the word I'm looking for? I lost my train of thought. Yeah, the way that the incentive token and the emission rate and not the emission rate, but like who gets the emissions, which pool, I think it's really centralized. And that it's just like Richard and the devs, like they're just choosing it. So like, I haven't seen anything about like a PulseX DAO where we get to choose what coins get to be incentivized. So that's like, if that makes you uncomfortable or something, like that's definitely something you should know. And we should be transparent about. I just want to buy Icosa. I don't want a system safe for it. Hey, well, you can do that. You can buy as much as Icosa as you want. Hagel Fox, don't worry about it. Yeah, watch the replay, Bright Light. Thanks, Bree. I appreciate it. And yeah, I hear you. I'm just, off the top of my head rebuttals, but yeah, we'll talk about it more later. I'll come into your chat and we can have more in-depth conversation. What would you recommend as the current most cost-effective way to buy more PLSX and Pulse? Most cost-effective way. So I know there are some wallets that have supported PulseChain, like Rabbit. I think Orox has, and there are some exchanges like OKX that have supported PulseChain. So if you want to go through like OKX and like buy it and then off ramp it into your actual wallet, that's a good way. True USD, TUSD is a good way to on-ramp money without having to go through a centralized exchange. So if you want to do that, swap it to like DAI or something, then like bridge it over to buy what you want. That works too. I think as time goes on, there'll be more and more services that will allow us to more seamlessly buy Pulse or PulseX. But for the most part, it's pretty much the same. On ramp it somehow, bridge it over, and then purchase on the PulseX DEX. Oh yeah. Okay. Cool. So yeah, go to RX Max's channel after this stream, and I'll grab a link because I'm going to probably end it here soon. I'll grab a link and we can raid him after we're done here. Let's go to RX Max. You should. I think he's streaming with Dixon Piper in a little bit. Let's see. What's today? 29th. I'll just post his channel in here when I get the chance. But yeah, centralized power and token is good if you assume. Yeah. So like it's kind of like in a lot of ways, centralization is good for price appreciation and like making fast decisions. And having it be a democratic thing could like slow it down. Yeah, it's definitely possible. If you saw before, I looked at this liquidity chart right here, and we got like over $1 million of liquidity between like 1/100th of a penny and 1/10 of a penny. So on the pHEX side, prices kind of gravitated towards this area a little bit on the HEX USDC 1% pool. So there's the possibility for more downside is definitely possible. Price prediction on Pulse come late 2025. Let's see. So my gut off the top of my head, just to make a nice round number, is a penny. So let's see where a penny is on here in terms of X's. Oh man, we really have to scroll out, huh? Look at that. All right. Let's see. Price range. So from the bottom, we're getting up there. Here we're at a 250x. If we go to a penny right here. So from the bottom, a yeah, penny's bearish. So from the bottom, that's a 440x, which actually that's not completely unreasonable. I think that's the bottom. Let's see. Yeah, about the bottom, it's about a 440x. And then if we do that from the SAC price, that is a 0.001. That is a 95x. So yeah, so between a 95x from the Pulse, from the SAC price, I think is well within the realm of possibility. So my conservative target would be a penny for sure. That would be my conservative price target in peak euphoria for PulseChain, and then I'll just slap an extra 10x on it for a medium term, so 10 cents. And then you know what, Bree, I'll just say 27 is my upper range, 27 cents. I think these are possible numbers. As long as, well, not as long as, but a lot of it will depend on when we get the big flush out of large SAC wallets, in my opinion. Yeah, only a penny. Hey, what's up, Franklin? I hope you're doing well, buddy. Oh, yeah, ATX is streaming now, so if you want to go check him out when I'm done while you're waiting for Max, that works too. Let's see. Oh, hey, Sith Master Hex, good to see you. Welcome back. Hey, I'm glad you're here, man. Catching my welcome back stream. All right, let's see. 1 cent, yeah, 1 cent for PulseX because that's a little bit lower price. Also makes sense. I would not count out PulseX outperforming PulseChain. If the volume of PulseX just gets stupid bananas crazy, then like it's possible that really helps amp it up. But the cool thing about that, and that the way these pools are set up on PulseX, is that even if we get the buy and burn happens and Pulse gets more scarce because the Pulse is being removed from the market, but the router can go through different pairs and say put USDC in another pair like PulseChain, or like for incentive token, for incentive token, it can end up pumping these other tokens by putting like say USDC, ETH, or whatever into those pools, taking the incentive token or PulseChain, putting that in the PulseX to PulseChain pool, and removing the PulseX from that pool, because that's the way you get the least slippage with the amount of buy pressure that the DEX is coming through. Yeah, so I wouldn't count out PulseX for outperforming PulseChain, but yeah. Let's see what else we got. What's up, the no good hex and how you see? And yes, Spree, we shall see. Oh, Jawa. Do me a favor as a dentist sloth, look into the negative effects of fluoride, and when you come to the conclusion that it isn't necessary for healthy teeth, tell your patient to find an alternative. Yeah, man, I'll tell you what, I'll look into it. I'll look into all the stuff, but you know, from my perspective, that's not a debate. Like at least in the dental community, we're well past figuring out whether or not fluoride is healthy for teeth. Like it just kind of objectively is. And we understand it from what's the word I'm looking for? From a biomechanical standpoint. Like we understand why it works from down at the chemical level. But all that to say, that doesn't preclude the negative effects of, say, systemic exposure to fluoride. Like I don't actually have any knowledge of that. So like, you know, that's something I would have to speak on intelligently. I'd have to look into. But you know, you're my friend Jawar. I'm happy to look into it, and we can have a conversation about it in the future. Rich Wealth, most liquid exchange ever watches. Yes, sir. Yes, be the change you want to see. Let's see. Yeah, I would be very happy with that too. All right, guys, that's about 50 minutes. I think that's a good return to form. Definitely be on the lookout for more streams, solo streams for myself, more group streams with Axis and Hexfire, Crispy Man. And I'm going to be looking to have some more guests on too. I'm going to hopefully be streaming more regularly, at least once or twice a week, maybe making some standalone videos, talking about some stuff. Look out for more coursework for me and Axis. We're going to start giving out details for that soon. The next one is going to be a liquidity course. Liquidity providing course, which is going to be really important to understand for the PulseChain side of things. So be on the lookout for that. And tell you what, I'll end it with this. Top 7 coins, 1 to 7. Let's see. pHEX and Ehex, PulseChain, incentive token. That's already 5. Hedron, pHEDron, Icosa, pIcosa. There's 7. I'll count those as the same. There you go. 7. There's 14 more days. All right. All right, guys. Take it easy. Saint Wolf, ask me next time. I'll answer it, but I got to head out for now. Maybe someone in the chat give them a good answer. It's good to get in touch with you guys again, and I look forward to doing more content for you guys in the future. Peace out.